You know, one of the things that I fear the most is having an ego. Not because I don't want to grow, but because I never want to be blinded by self-satisfaction, to become complacent or forget where I came from. Because I knew how far I was from the top, even if I don't need to be there. I never wanted to let myself feel like I was good at something. In my mind, feeling satisfied with my progress felt like disrespecting the people who worked harder, who achieved more, or struggled through more than I did. So, I kept myself in check. Normally, I'm not really someone who cares about what others think, in the sense of being too hard on myself, or taking pride in what I do, or acknowledging one's accomplishments. I've always been hard on myself, not just to remind myself of where I came from, but to avoid ever becoming arrogant. I think one of the things I subconsciously value is my own integrity. Not in the sense of being morally perfect, but in the sense of staying honest to who I am and who I want to become. Even though I don't know who that is exactly yet. After overcoming my thoughts of ending my life, I spiraled into something else. Not darkness, but self-suppression. I stopped letting myself feel proud or good or worthy, because in my mind I wasn't. Growing up, I barely saw my parents. They worked all the time. I probably saw them maybe 20% of the time, or even less. I didn't get much praise growing up, or if anything. I was constantly compared to my cousins who got better grades, won awards, and did things right. I remember in parent-teacher conferences, the first thing my mom would ask was where I ranked in the class. If there were any subjects that I was at the top of, how many kids ahead I was, and what they could to put me ahead, and little questions along the lines. And the funny part is, I had to translate all of that by myself to my mom, because she couldn't speak English well, and I remember the faces that my teachers would make, or try to not make, to try to lighten the mood. But anyways, I honestly did have bad grades, mostly F's until high school. I knew they couldn't really hold me back, or maybe I didn't, I don't know. But I never did my homework. I never studied. I honestly just came home and escaped into video games. Games just felt like a better reality to me. That was where I had friends I could hang out with outside of school and have a sense of belonging. But eventually, even my online friends moved on, started hanging out with real life people, going outside and growing. After a couple years, I eventually went my own way too. In my mid-20s, I started learning languages, finances, and anything that piqued my interest, in hopes as a sign of kind of moving forward. I practiced the piano for hours, tried to become something, but I never let myself feel like it meant anything. I kept telling myself that I deserved to be happy, that I should be ashamed for learning so slow, or that I'm disrespecting the skill by not practicing or studying hard enough. A lot of the times I couldn't even tell when I achieved something worth anything. I carried that logic into my 20s. Somewhere along the way, I started believing that if I stayed sad or neutral, always behind a mask, then I'd never hurt anyone. That if I was constantly alert and always self-checking, always a little on edge, then I'd catch it. I'd catch if someone I cared about was hiding pain. I wouldn't be blind to it. I wouldn't overlook it because I was happy that fear of being blindsided became so strong that I didn't even share my own wins. I feared the thought or scenario of letting myself slip or wanting to share a win about something that made me happy, being heard. What if something horrible happened to a friend the same day, or them ready to share vulnerability, and I let myself feel joy? What if that happiness made them feel worse, or made me miss their pain? It wasn't respectful logic, and I knew that. But in my head, it felt like the safest option. It was the best attempt at harm prevention. So I removed joy from the equation. No wins, no sharing, no too happy. I know it sounds weird, but for me, it was logical. The logic was another piece that made me into someone people found helpful. I became a good listener. I remember details about people that even they forgot they told me. I made people smile just by remembering small things, and that solidified my role to be a tool only to help others. Void of happiness and alert as I can to help. But I also used it as a way to disappear, to stay helpful but invisible. A tool, not a person. Honestly, I don't even know what the right answer is. Maybe there isn't one. In topics like these, there's rarely black and white. A lot of the time it comes down to nuance, or context, or whatever feels right at the moment. I still feel like being sad or neutral is the safest choice. Not for me, but for the people around me. Logically, it feels like the greater probability of a better outcome. At times it feels like, at times it hurts, but it feels like it prevents even more hurt, or at least the possibility in my mind. And of course, I believe I'm as human as anyone else is. At times I want to be heard. I want to share things that make me happy, things on my mind and ideas. But at times I'm scared. Sometimes I feel like I'm not even allowed to. And I know that's on me. I dug that hole myself. But it doesn't help that society and social media frames even small wins as ego sometimes, where being proud of something feels like showing off, as if being proud of something even little is showing off. Majority of the time it feels safer just to stay right here, on the edge of sadness. Because then I'd never be blindsided and always alert to help if I can. Most of the time, I don't even know what the right answer is anymore. I just want what's best for others, and at least this is what I think is best for others, not that I have the right to. It's where I am now. I'm just slowly figuring it out.